So moving now into planning and economic development with Ms. Lisa Sherry
And inspection.
and inspections and all the things that she oversees.
Well, basically, nothing has really changed from last year. If that helps any, I'll go line by line unless you have some questions.
I mean, no change is pretty good.
You have to say,
We approved it last year.
you have to say, Rick,
The only increase you may see in the line item is because we will have a printer at the Rosenwald building, the new office. And I think for it's not the security, but it's the monitoring, no, the internet.
yeah,
Because you have to have for the use in order to connect here, it's $40 a month and it's for
It's not just a mom.
Yeah, between inspections and planning, so you'll see on the inspections budget and your planning, economic development, and code enforcement budget and all that, we just split those between us. So that's the reason you may see an increase in a line item or a new line item. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I mean, printer and internet seem pretty standard for day-to-day operations. But I'm gonna say I have none. Just looking through here. Let's see how many is it.
Anything I've left out? Mr. Roberts?
Yes,
Yes, but I'm not sure.
I know you did, it's made after that county kid, but have you given me a projection on your revenue?
I'm sorry.
Have you given me a projection on your revenue?
Yeah, that's on the second, the zoning revenue estimated for 2026. We've got, right there beside the estimated, yes, it's on the second pages there for each department.
That's the wrong stuff.
So it's indeterminate what you might get based on permits, it's for each,
But I think you give me that's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we will do, yes. Yeah. So that's why we put that in there.
Oh, my spirit was interested in that.
We, yes, we, basically, some things increased last year due to,
Yeah.
we had not increased, I'm gonna say, for 15 years. And some fees and new types of work.
Yeah.
And increased work, our, valuations have increased quite a bit as well as permit. So the only project things we've got, I mean, it's not really a project for us, I'm gonna kind of go back and forth in inspection, because it's all, we are the same department together, even though they're separate projects. Amber needs a new vehicle, which is Enterprise, which we talked to William about that. So that's for inspection, that's the largest thing, which will be an Enterprise vehicle, and they will take care. He's had it since 2018, lots of miles, and we're increasing the maintenance call. And the only thing in planning I thought I would bring up, because we're getting to that time of the year, and this is complaint based. So we do not go out there and police is abatement, such as grass, iris, and
or jump.
junk vehicle. If you would like to fund, I have not put anything in the budget, but if you would like to fund that, Frank is really good at working with people and mostly compliance, but you have your view. I mean, it's going to happen. It happens in every county. But we've done something to explain it, and a cost estimate for the budget cycle, and then copy for everyone. That's me. Something that we can have to better explain what goes on. With those, and something, her vehicle, the cost has gone up, it's like $250 to tow vehicle, things like that. And pass these out. And so we wanted to hear.
I mean, me having worked in code enforcement and building inspections in another location, I see great value in it. But I might have the less common opinion.
Well, the one thing
Do you
about,
have an extra?
I do. The one thing we have to because, as you know, you can get something. You can become, and for lack of a better word, you can have a lawn cutting service
Right.
or a towing service, because you have to, once you do this, you would have to place a lien on property. And you do not recoup that unless the property is sold. If they never sell it, the county will never recoup their money. But please realize that if we put monies in there and use that.
Right.
So, and see what, so we have looked up something here. And Frank worked on something, and it's very valuable to take a look at that.
Well, I only know town and hockey, do counties often do this, or is it more of a municipality type?
No, county, we have an ordinance, and you would have to follow that, and it still takes time. We have your notice, you have to go through court proceedings. Now, I mean, we be in compliance very often. Like I said, he's very good at working with them, between grass and vehicles. But it is quite a process. It's still gonna take months and months and months to do something. You have to, because there is notice required.
And what is the, do you know what the fee is for the certified letter? I know that's what cost us the most, much to about certified letters.
It's almost $10. It's gone up about every year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's $9.50.
I think it's 6 when I did it, 550 to 6.
So that's why you, sometimes you'll see our
Yeah.
postage budget go up. And so it's something we think that has become, I mean, Gillum has two that's here to go. But due to the fact, it's what the nature of the business is, we want to make sure you're aware of that. And if we'd like to fund that. I'm not with the budget for that, or you can, tell them this is what was going on this year. And the courts don't like to see these cases. We have, as an example, we've had grass cases that have come along and they've been 2 feet high, and churches have helped. People have helped us, people have done ill. You don't want to take that to court if you don't have to, but we also have ordinances as well. So we try to do what we can do.
Thoughts from you two?
Yeah, I mean. I worded it nicely. I've seen good work from y'all's folks. I also see people complain like crazy. They think they're supposed to be able to do anything they want. So the caution, I guess, is if we do this, there's going to be an eruption of people who are going to say, like, I should be allowed myself to have junk. And you shouldn't say anything, but you're also going to have people say, well, you enforce it on this guy, but you aren't enforcing it on this guy over here. I guess that's the question, is how do we go about making sure we're complying or applying it evenly? You know what I'm saying?
Frank's pretty good about applying it evenly. He's a 30-year veteran of the police force. I can say he's pretty,
Yeah, I've got,
he's gonna make sure that's done. But we also have an ordinance to follow too.
Yeah.
And there,
Which does, what does that say?
that's what, we've got a copy of it. In here for you, it's online as well. So you have to follow the enforcement actions. And like I said, follows it. It's really good. There are some laws, if something's been there a certain amount of time, and code enforcement and the water department's been by there and read me and seen it, you can't enforce them. It's things that have been there since before our time. No longer you can do that.
yes,
We don't want to become a grass cutting service, you.
that's what I'm getting at, but also, I guess what I'm getting at is there's some people that have every ability in the world and capability, capacity to do it and don't. Then you also have some old folks that would love to do it, can't get to it, maybe can't afford it. I guess that's the question, is how do we balance those out as a board? If you guys are going out and enforcing it, and you have a little old lady who's 85 years old, who's got a working mower, she just isn't capable of pushing it, but she lives remotely, are we gonna charge her $120 to cut her grass? And the guy down the street, he's just lazier than hell, and he won't cut his grass. Yeah, charge him, but
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're saying. We,
Yeah.
Okay.
but.
It'll get better by ignoring it, I know that.
You're right, and we still get calls. I mean, we have landlords calling like on tenants.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
Before you said about recovering money, I know that certain locality that I worked at, well, my guys had to cut the grass and we, in the past, hey, but we have to weed also, it was a fee, and if we have to bring a ditch bank, we have a ditch bank, and we have a separate fee. And it got to be a nightmare trying to keep up those costs, and ultimately, a house is abandoned, and because the parents died, it's owned by the 3 or 4 heirs, 2 of them live in New York, one lives in Chicago, the other lives in LA, and trying to recover those costs.
Yeah.
Is it possible at some point you take an action, you take the court, in foreclosing on the house, by the time the house is not worth it 5 years later? Recover the cost.
So my brain goes to either if it, and this is just where it's at, I'm all about whatever the ordinance says. So either the ordinance needs to be amended or we need to start enforcing it.
Okay.
Would be where my head's at, one or the other. Either we start enforcing it or we amend the ordinance. Because the ordinance is there and that's what we're telling citizens to go to reference for different things we can and can't do. So that's what we need to be referencing. If we're either gonna revamp it, yeah, or.
What do you advocate for this chair?
Yeah, we
What do you advocate for?
Well, all we have is the ordinance, and that is it's pretty up to date. It was reviewed probably 6 years ago, I guess.
So I hear you saying, and I'm wrong, I hear you saying, you'd like to see us go ahead and enforce the ordinance we have on the books.
Yeah, and we have enforced it. Like I said, there's probably 2 cases that have carried on. It seems to be rare.
It's primarily been complaint based.
Yeah, but we are complaint based. That's all.
I know you are, I was wanting to be complaining at one location, you guys took care of business. And actually, the landlord later came to apologize for
Right.
the situation.
Yeah, I mean, really, but you're gonna have those few. Like I said, we had someone that was sick, they're 2 foot high grass, we were able, like I said, Frank's really good, we talked to churches, they've
Yeah.
been there and they've thrown in and came and mowed that grass. We
Okay.
tried everything we could. We try our best, and because we don't wanna see as you said, for example, a 91-year-old person with a walker coming to court, neither do judges, to be
Right.
honest. So that's not
Yeah.
that's not what we want to do. But we just.
So is the ordinance allow a process in place where it's, there's a some level of planning commission or zoning boards make you go and review these? Somebody comes and says, hey, my 90-year-old grandmother, I cut her grass, started and moved for 3 months. And you let her go with $120 charges and you're supposing or not.
And that's judgment's not there for this other rules. But when he goes and visits and you kind of see a situation where you can work one down and then you become compliant, that's done. There's a holiday.
Yeah.
So I mean, not that we can decide anything today, but
You think, Brian?
what do you all think?
Funded or not. Oh, it's tough. Right.
Like you said, brief.
I couldn't hear what said. So start enforcing.
Right. Oh, crazy. And then if they have time to do, what they can comply, which they're gonna do,
Right.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe come back and tell us in a few months if you would, or passport, because you don't have to come give a big presentation, but maybe just passport how it's working, or pickups you're finding, or things we might need to adjust or something.
As far as you know.
Any of it, any part of it, doing it.
And I'm sure Frank will come to, he is very, very good at speaking to you. So my friend will talk to you. He really is. I think we'd like that with you. That's great. He's great.
Yeah.
He's good. So yeah, whatever amount you can see fit that we could probably kind of start with would be great. You think about that. I don't think you can do that because you have some amounts there.
Yeah.
Think about it. But yeah, that's basically it.
Well, there are no other questions for any of these departments.
Well, if I could, consent, what's the dollar we're looking at, the point you there, I'm trying to think of.
There's a spreadsheet in the back of, the estimated costs that you got.
Inspection point.
It's right there. Now we've got the cost, because again, the cost for, as far as the vehicles, you know. So he's got the totals there of some things, you know, what they might be. So whatever you would think for a year, you know, we get into that, and he's got a number and average, things like that there.
Can you be more, can you point me more?
Page three, oh, I'm sorry.
I see the page where it estimates.
There's one here, there's a spreadsheet right behind that, I think. I'm sorry, that's page three, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, I'm just trying to say, okay, so we're doing this, we're saying this is just a guesstimate, obviously. But we're talking about really funding $8,400 to try and get it started.
Yes, sir. It's an average.
Yeah, I know it's shot in the dark, you don't know what to get.
Yes, sir.
You start doing something, people might suddenly fix some, because they're like, I don't want to get.
Right.
Potentially get
Right.
the money back.
Yes.
So that's the other thing too, you might get half of it back, you might get half of it, might not get half of it for a year, but again.
Good point.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem outlandish.
it doesn't.
At all. Nothing with it.
And there will be fines, you know, of course, that as well. But if we can get it back, you know, from the lane or if it's placed, if it were to. We hope it doesn't, that's all. We can hope not.
So you take some divorce.
No, I practice the full time.
Absolutely, we're right.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, and one more thing, please, and, Renee, you're gonna help me out with this. She's gonna help with the many days. If you got that, would you read that?
Well,
Then I'll help.
no,
Let us introduce the people.
Yes.
Lisa has spoken with the developer that did the project over in Hertford County for the Forge Rings company that's coming in next to Newport. And she's also working with the Timmons Group, engineering folks out of Richmond. And she is becoming a self-educated expert on data center. And she has offered to put together a program to host a roundtable discussion of, say, elected leaders, maybe the Chamber of Commerce too. So you could have the county commissioners, town council, Board of Education, Chamber of Commerce, to talk about some of the concerns, some of the potential solutions, some of the lessons learned. And she's very willing to do this on her dime, because it takes years to roll out one of these if it is desirable. And some of the numbers that she has shared from other jurisdictions are staggering. An average investment of 1.5 billion. That's about what our tax base is right now. So that level of infusion will double your tax base, and give you an opportunity to adjust that tax rate down further. They also have community
Community benefit agreements.
where they'll sign a 10 or 20-year agreement to put money into a community center, put it into a rec center, put it in a swimming pool, that athletic track, or if we aren't successful working with the schools to get enough lottery money to build a project, that money could be committed toward debt service to pay back.
my brain was reading the educational, which we said we were gonna research for the moratorium for the year, so anything like that would be.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to get at, was it's the biggest question I saw, and things I remember hearing about, and that actually in my private job, my personal job is the issues with the groundwater and the discharge of contaminants. I know Virginia's put in place some restrictions on the discharge of water. and constituents that come out of that, potentially going to the environment, how to handle that. You can be prepared to address some of that.
We did talk.
You don't have to, you know.
Yeah, we did talk about that, but there are alternatives out there.
They've got some
We had.
reclamation and reuse of
This is definitely part of our due diligence to research. If nothing else.
We've had some discussions where we talked about when they come in and ask to build, they make demands of, hey, we want you to provide these utilities, this volume of water, this volume of treatment, discharge and everything. And what we are finding, there's discussions already, is that the people that approach you initially really don't have a clue what their demands really are. They represent these companies, they make these big grandiose demands, but the reality is it's much smaller and littler. And so if you're able to maybe be prepared to answer some of those questions, that's when we were really, we had a company come in and tell us they needed 2 million gallons of water a day. When they got there, they needed 52,000 gallons a day.
Isn't that amazing?
and she's prepared to assemble those professionals, those experts that can help answer those questions. I don't think she.
Then any questions we have in the work into.
Well, that's what we say, is a lot of these things, if you're gonna do these, and if you have multiple sessions, which sounds like you're already there, you're already thinking ahead of this. You might have the first section, they're gonna ask you a few questions you don't know, but by the next session, I time to research and address those comments in the second and third.
Additionally, they'd like us to identify a couple of dates that are workable for this board so that they can clear their calendar and agree to one of those dates, and then we can start, pulling folks together.
So my personal opinion is,
Any
we
best
shouldn't be
or bad?
doing it in the daytime, y'all.
Evening, yeah.
They said the evening, maybe, I think the middle time is what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to do, the planning board would be there as well. We have
How
to,
soon are you talking about maybe doing this?
She wants to do it in May if you all.
2 or 3 days in May.
is there a
Yeah, that's.
particular Week that's off limits because somebody's got vacation or.
I am out in town the 14th through 18th.
That's when we should do it.
Jeez, tell me how you really feel. I mean,
And is there a preferred night, a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Monday, a Wednesday?
Wednesdays and Thursdays usually work good for me. I don't know about everybody else.
Tell me.
Thursdays are not good for me, Thursday evenings. That's, I always get all kinds of stuff. Thursday.
What about
Anything.
Wednesday the 5th?
Yes,
Wednesday the 5th,
6.
yeah.
We meet on the 20th.
Are you free?
Regular.
Okay, so you know, at least we'll have quorum. If that matters. I don't know.
Or if you want to pick 3 days, maybe the 6th, the 13th, and throw a Tuesday in there, the 12th, to see if that would.
Is our meeting in May, is that the 20th?
20.
6th and the 13th would probably be a good week apart.
If we throw a Tuesday in there, I do have to ask it not be the 12th. We have a family dinner every Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month.
Okay, how about the 5th or 19th?
I mean, yeah, the 5th, 6th, or 13th, does that work? I think I'd rather get it out of like early before we get to heavier
If we
budget
do one on
time.
the 19th, if we're having a commission meeting next night, you could easily have an update for the public that weren't able to attend. You could provide an update at that meeting that we're having to highlight that you had.
The 6th, 13th, and 19th.
I'm okay with that, you know. Everybody-
So just put those in on your calendar to,
Okay.
just to get confirmation.
And starting at, what time are you talking starting?
Kelly's gonna let us know. I know it's evening. It was gonna be lunch and learn, but it's gonna be like an evening and learn. Dinner. So yeah, I'm gonna pass this on to the planning board because they're gonna be involved as well. And, possibly the other one. How much we need to do.
One of yours.
Thank you.
Dates go to. Appreciate it. I know I've had all kinds of questions for you lately. It's been amazing.
Thank you for the questions. Is there any more? If there is,
I think that this would take a second, maybe, so, just because I usually everyone wants to, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, you know.
6, 13, and 19.
19.
And those things out there.
You're good well for this, Dave.
Yes.
Thank you.
We still record? Yeah.
I don't end it.